Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kitty. I am a hypnobirthing instructor, antenatal educator, registered general nurse, a birth postpartum doula and a lactation consultant. Today I'm going to be giving you my top tip to have a pain-free and comfortable birth. So the TENS machine stands for transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. The way that it works is it is a battery operated system. Generally speaking, they come with the batteries as a part of the pack with leads attached and then 4 electrodes or pads which are placed on your back. I'm going to show you exactly where you place them now. So you can see from that image there that you are placing the pads just above your sort of under line and then another 2 just below your brow line. How does it work? So generally speaking, you want to be applying it either before your labour begins if you have an induction booked, so sort of an hour before your induction process begins so that you can have your endorphins at an all-time high, or just as your birth process begins. You can, the great thing about it is that you can always remove it if you're finding it's not working for you. Of course, everyone is different, every person is different, and what one person finds fantastic might be the complete opposite for the next person. So you can actually remove it and then reapply at a later stage if you found that actually it was working quite nicely and you only realised how well it was working once you took it off. So the pads themselves are reusable. It's always no harm to have an extra set on hand, so an extra pack of these electrodes so that you can reuse them and use different ones so they get less sticky. So how does this magical pain relieving gizmo work? And the joy of it is there's 2 modes that it really works on. The first is that it interferes with or blocks that pain signal that goes to your brain. It does that by that gentle muscular stimulation, which works and feels kind of like either a fuzzing or a tingling or vibrating on your back. You will have a sort of low dose, steady stimulation going, and then you have that fantastic boost button which you press just at the point of the peak of your surge. So we'll come back to that visualization of your surges coming as a wave, and they reach that peak and then ebb away. So just as your surge is reaching that peak, that is when you press your boost button. It lasts just perfectly for that duration, and then it goes back to that gentle ebbing sort of low vibration again. So as a result, you're actually creating a lovely barrier that blocks that pain from being felt from the uterus. So as a result, you experience a much lesser sensation of the intensity of those surges. Another way that it works is that you actually, as a direct result from that topical stimulation, release your body's natural pain relievers, which are your endorphins. So you've got your endorphins up here, which are your natural pain relievers, and a reduced sensation of the pain or intensity of your surges. So you get sort of a double whammy of pain relief. So now I'm going to get into the pros and cons of its use. For me personally, there are a lot more pros than there are cons. So the first one being you can be completely in control. So you have a degree of control over the intensity. So you can go up or down depending on the intensity of your surges. So as your surges become more intense, you can boost up the intensity of the TENS machine vibrating. You can also use that boost button just as you need it. So waiting for the peak of those surges till they work so that it can work at its best. You can also rent these machines because they have those interchangeable electrodes. You can actually buy your very own electrode pads. So you can use a friend's machine, you can rent them from some pharmacists or chemists, although personally I feel like they are absolutely worth the investment. So the next benefit is that there is no side effects known. So no side effects to baby like there might be with some medications which travel across the placenta, and no side effects to mum. There is absolutely that control, so you can remove it and take it off and then pop it back on again at any stage during your labour. So there's no cut-off point at which it no longer is going to be useful. Equally so, you can actually use it with an induction. So to make sure that your endorphins are at an all-time high, I would recommend applying the pads and starting using your TENS about an hour before your induction process begins. So here are some of the cons. The first being that if you have a history of either epilepsy, heart conditions, or any broken skin along your back, it is not recommended. You actually also can't use the TENS machine when you're in water. So if you planned on getting into the bath or into the shower, you actually have to remove the pads themselves and then reapply them later on at a later stage during your labour when you're no longer immersed in water. So another con for a lot of mamas is that you can't use the TENS machine alongside the use of water therapy or hydrotherapy. So for instance, if you planned on having a water birth or getting into the shower during your labour, you'll actually just have to remove the device altogether and then reapply it once your skin is nice and dry. So that is a little bit about the TENS machine. Personally, I found it amazing, as well as so many of my clients which have really used it to help them progress throughout their labours and ended up having a really positive experience. So definitely let me know about your experiences of using the TENS machine. I'll put up a question box here and I want to hear all about it. And let me know if it was something that worked for you or what you didn't like about it as well, because I'm always curious to hear about what comfort measures you found useful during your labour. It's a really great one to be using at this time that we are in the world. During COVID, it means that we oftentimes are labouring on our own for quite a bit, and having that sort of companion of the TENS machine gives you that degree of control back, and I'm all about controlling the controllables. So that's a little bit about the TENS machine. It's all about practice. So applying those pads on your back from 37 weeks onwards, it can be a really nice way to relieve a little bit of achy sort of lower back pain as well. It's also a great way to kind of familiarise yourself with it so that you're not trying to figure it out in the throes of labour. Practice makes perfect. Getting used to the sensation, it can feel a little bit like a sort of buzzing or prickling feeling on your back, and you might need a little bit of hand just to apply the pads in the correct place. So let me know about your experiences down below. I would love to hear them, and as always, make sure and stay tuned for any future videos, and let me know if there's anything that you would like me to cover.